I didn't want to believe that, but he took a lack of me. He kept on talking to me about it. He seen that I really needed the money. And so I made up my mind that we would go after I talked to one of my brothers that got saved in a prayer meeting when I worked in the shipyard. And his wife, she worked out, done washing, if I make no mistake, done first little housework and job till we got enough money to catch a small plane. Because that's all we could catch coming up in Alaska. It got so far. And I got up here, and we got to talking to this man. His name's Smiling Ashman. And he's a Jew. I call it a Jew. And we call it Smiling Ashman. Because he told us so much that he had done, so much he has accomplished since he's been up here, that he wouldn't go back to stateside for nothing. He stayed right here. And y'all got this opportunity. Said, if I y'all, I'd stay. Just homestead.
Now, when you decided, let's talk about how you decided to homestead. Now, Mrs. Parham, your parents had homesteaded in Arkansas?
Mm-hmm.
Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we still have the property now. My parents, both of them are dead, but the heirs, the homestead, fell to the heirs. And we still have some of the people that were living are dead, but I'm still alive, and I think that we have about 5 in our family that's still alive. Our family was 10 children, 5 boys and 5 girls. That's 10, ain't it? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what we had. And we always thought it was just so wonderful to have that much property. And my daddy said it was, too. So you should try to own some property and do yourself some good. So it was our motive that one day we would also run into where we could homestead, and it came to pass. So I was all for it when he told me about this man, told him he should homestead. I said, sure, honey, let's do. So we did it.
Okay, now, so the two of you decided that, okay, you're going to homestead. Now,
right.
Where did you first try to homestead?
Well, we homesteaded in Big Delta.
Why did you go there?
I was impressed because it had big-sized timber on it. And in my young days, in my older days, as I grew up, I thought about the timber that I could sell. That's what I had in mind. We out on the homestead on some big timber. And I know around in Fairbanks here, all of it was real small timber. I wonder if I could have some big timber so I could sell some and make me some, I'd sell a lot of money. So that was my motive when I came up here, to make me some money. And then when I got up here and seen I could make some money, and the more I worked, the more money I'd have. And I thought about the time when my uncle came back from Chicago, and he was telling my dad and them, I don't so much y'all leave him down, y'all ain't making no money. And they was getting vacation with pay in Chicago and Detroit. My uncles and cousins had them all around, and that time we had to get up on the house and listen at my mother and daddy talk. We couldn't sit and listen at them. And when I got married, you couldn't marry until you was 21. If you married before then, they had to sign for you to marry. And I said to myself, and I told my daddy, whenever I get grown, I'm leaving here. And I'd let him know I wasn't talking back to him because you couldn't talk back to your parents then. But when I got married, I had a crop started. And when I got married, it's a goodbye crop. I left that. And I've been doing construction work ever since we got married in the West. Yeah, ever since we got married. 1932. It was September the 24th. And I've been doing construction work until this time. But I'd like to say this. I found out here, when I got here, that I could have me a bank account. While I was in Stockton, California, I knew what a bank account was.
You couldn't have a bank account?
I didn't have no bank account. I didn't have that kind of money.
Ah.
And I didn't know what a bank account was till I came up here, got my bank account started. So I could be my own boss. Could spend my money like me and my wife would like to spend it. And have money in your pocket, buy what you want, and have some money to spend. But back there, I couldn't do that. But one reason I asked the Lord to give me that store, I want to know He really called me to preach. He gave me that store, and I yet wouldn't give up. Then I came on up here and got myself established. I want to get established. And after we homesteaded, me and my wife, we homesteaded, and I loved it so well until I didn't want to sell not now a piece of my land. Not then at all.
Now, let's back up to the attempt in Big Delta. You tried to homestead in Big Delta, but you gave that up and you came back to North Pole. What made you change your mind?
Oh, yeah, on account of it was 2 foot of drive to work, and it worked all up here, and I had just I said wing right. Plus, to get the house in quicker. And they elected me, from what I could hear, we're going to be no work down there in a long, long time.
At Big Delta.
Big Delta. So that's why I give up, because it was just 2 foot of drive to work every day.
Okay. So when you made the decision to get back up in this area, now tell us about the homestead that you started in the North Pole area.
Actually, I had two homesteads in the Lawfair area. One was for the park between Fairbanks and Allison, Moose Creek. Our homestead back over there, but the road was, we didn't have no road, we had to go through the woods, and it was so bad, and so we just couldn't get in, because it rained all the time, yet about. And so I thought I'd stop that on the side, right where they parked that down on, yeah, I'm trying to call the name of the place. Anyway, we call it Park now. And I come back up to where I'm at now. Up there where Parham and McCormick Road. That's back up closer to town. I'm getting out of there, the mud and water, slop.
So how many acres did you homestead at that site? And that's near Plaque Road?
That's right. Yeah, and not too far.
Okay.
It's about a mile from what I had the other homestead.
Okay. And how big is that homestead site?
Both times was 106 acres.
160.
Yes, I homesteaded 106 acres there, and I homesteaded 106 acres where I'm at now. That's when I turned that back and got this one.
And do you still own this property?
My homestead?
Mm-hmm.
One
of the homesteads you still own?
Right.
This one.
All 100
now.
Yeah.
All 160 acres?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you decided to homestead at that site. Did you build a house there?
Yes, I did.
What year did you build?
I think it's 59, I think. It's 58 or 59.
Okay.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Yes and no. I was thinking about 60 when the flood came. No, we didn't build it. It was 57 or 58.
Okay.
Before the flood was,
Way before the flood.
The big flood?
No.
You weren't here?
No. The
we
flood
did
was
have
in
one.
The flood was in
64. I think in 1964, I think.
1967?
Might have been, whatever it was.
Whatever it was, that's when we were there, out there homesteading and just going through what we had to go through. It wasn't all pleasant, but we were willing to go through it just to have that homestead, because that was our life. We had said we'd do that ever since we were children, and we got that chance, and we took it.
Now, when you built the house on the homestead and you moved into it, you still had, your daughters were still going to school. Is that correct? Okay. Now, they would come into Fairbanks on bus to go to school? Okay. Now, Mrs. Parham, why don't you tell us how you would get the girls to the bus?
walk, walk from where we lived, which was about almost 6 miles, wasn't it, honey, down to the bus line?
No, about 3 feet.
No, it's further than that, because I was doing the walk. I know.
Yeah, but see, from my house to Platt to Badger Road is just 3 miles. 3 miles. You got to North Pole, maybe another half a mile. That's all it was.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I said 3 miles then, but
yeah.
when I was walking, it felt like it was more than that to me.
But it was 3 miles to make it exactly right, you know. Yeah. But sometimes she'd walk over it, go up further to catch the bus. But between that Platt Road and North Pole, but no further. 3 miles at the most, or 3 miles and a quarter, whatever. Yeah.
Well, however, I had to, he was still working, so I had to see that the children got to school, and there were bears out there then, because they came to our house. There was a big old bear came to our house at one time. Well, I didn't let that stop me from taking the children to school. They thought they killed the bear, but I don't know whether they did or not. But anyhow, I had to see those kids get to school. And there was no way to get them there except walk down there with them, because they're too small to go by themselves. So we had learned how to shoot guns out there. That's one thing he taught us after we got out there. So if any bears or anything come up, we would know just what to do. So I knew how to kill them because I'd practiced target practice. And I felt like if he came up there, he better not come too close, because I could get him. And with my gun, my rifle, and my dog, we had a dog, he was named Whitey, and he was and we had one named Mister. Those 2 dogs, my rifle and the children. It was my job to see that they got to school, so we'd walk down to this road, which is Badger Road now, and see that the children get on the bus. And, of course, I had to be there to meet them in the evening. And with White and the rifle, I wasn't afraid of nothing. So we'd be right there to meet them in the evening and bring them home.
Did you ever encounter any wildlife while you were walking to or from the road?
No, I never did. I guess they'd heard about Mazie Parham. Don't you get close to her, because she'll shoot you. I was pretty good with the rifle.
Yeah. Now, how many other families were homesteading in that area? Were you kind of off by yourself, or were there some other families close by?
The McCormicks. Have you heard of them?
No.
My husband, they were very good friends. So my husband inspired him also to homestead. He homesteaded the same amount of acres that we did. And, of course, he had 6 children, honey, or more.
Yes, he got more. I see 2 girls. No, 3 girls. Then let's see.
5 boys?
I believe it is. Let me see. 5 boys and 3 girls.
And we worked together. If one got out of food, we'd go to the other one, because they'd give us food. We worked together like that. We didn't turn each other down. If we could help them in either way, or they could help us, we stuck together. So we made it. We built the road together.
Good.
So they're still on their homestead now, too.
Now, I wanted to ask Reverend Parham also, when you first started homesteading out there in that area, Golden Valley Electric Association had different rules than they do now about power. How much difficulty did you have getting power?
As one of the homesteaders, and was going to stay there, and we wasn't going to leave. We were going to stay there. So we got together, my neighbor, Otis McCormick, and we talked after we felt like we were going to stay on homestead, which we just know it was. And so to get Well, to make it more plain is this, because so many homesteaders had left black and white. They wouldn't stay on their homestead. That made it bad for the homesteaders that was going to stay there. Because at that time, Golden Valley, if I make no mistake, it was breaking in to put all the power up, and nobody stayed there to help maintain it. And for us to get power, me and Ocean Company had to guarantee them $60 a month for 5 years to get power. And we guaranteed $6 if we didn't use nothing now, like I just had to pay it.
So it was a minimum charge.
Right.
You would pay at least $60 a year.
A year. I mean a month. Yeah.
For 5 years.
That's right. That's what we paid.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what we had to pay to get that, but to have juice.
We call it juice.
Yeah. For me, if I should have power.
Uh-huh.
So we had quite a bit of suffering going through with well, I'd like to get to maybe I should have backed up a while ago. Maybe I forgot and didn't say that. But when we first had juice around the house, we had power plant. I didn't get that in there.
Okay, tell us about that.
I got me a bed mattress because I want a TV going. And we made us a power plant out of a bed mattress up in the trees.
Bed springs.
You're talking about bed springs.
Bed springs, right.
Bed
Bed springs.
Right.
And you stuck that up in the tree and you wired it.
I went through I wired up with liquid wire.
Uh-huh.
And then put me a cord on it so I could plug into the power plant. And that's where we got the juice. And that's how we power.
Uh-huh.
And that's where we got a chance to look at the TV, because we had our own power.
Do you remember how many channels there were on TV back then?
Two.
And I suppose the programs were delayed programs. They weren't current. They would come a couple weeks old.
No, they were there all the time.
They were.
Yeah, those two, they were stable.
Uh-huh.
I don't forgot.
Don't worry about having two, because we always had that, but that's all.
Uh-huh.